disturbing. Do you have any idea how early it is? Yes. I'm beautiful and terrifying beyond anything you've ever imagined. For the love of all the gods, cower quietly. Please. Fucking hell. Listen to me. I don't know what your backwards little village has told you, but I'm not in the habit of eating unwashed, terrified commoners. Savvy? I'd say a minuscule thing like you barely counts as an appetizer, but that would require you to be appetizing. If I help you out of that cart, will you cease the wailing and the gnashing of teeth? My head's splitting. Yours as well. Did they drug you before they tied you up? Unbelievable. Fine, then. Do me a favor and don't move. These claws aren't nearly so well suited to delicate work as your little human hands. There. You can stand now. Your poor legs. You must have crouched there for hours. Here, lean on my talon. Down you come. Good. They really ought to know better. I mean, human sacrifices. Really? What were the priests thinking, sending you? In times past, they'd bring us gold, jewels, wine, whole roasted oxen. What the hell's happened? I suppose a famine is a valid enough excuse. I'm afraid they're only setting themselves up for despair if they think giving you up means their crops will improve. That was more Mother's thing. I haven't a drop of earth magic in me. That's me. The family disappointment. Now, I may have been away for a century or two, but I know the rules. Am I correct in saying that they'll still declare you cursed and cast you out if I send you back? I always thought that custom was brutal, even as a hatchling. Well, I suppose that makes you mine. You might as well come in. I insist you have a bath. I'll give you the tour afterwards. Yes, we have light. There's a chandelier made of pure gold and dawn quartz in the dining chamber. It's been glowing soft golden pink light since before I was born. Were you expecting a cave full of stinking offal and a few piles of gold? No. We believe in living better than that. This is a relic of my great-grandmother's time, when dwarves and dragons lived together in harmony, sharing meat, mead, and gold. We named them Dragon Friends. They called us their Sky Clan, and their hatchlings frolicked with their wee, bearded bairns. You know the rest of the tale. All the dwarves vanished centuries ago, and no one knows why. But we dragons keep watch and live in our lonely dwellings in case they ever deign to return. I've never met one myself. Go on. Clothes off. Hop in. I'm tired of your smell. Fine. I'll turn around. As if your nakedness could shock me. There. Does that suit your delicate sensibilities? Enjoy it. Lucky little warm-blooded thing you are. You can wallow in that spring as long as you like. I can only tolerate a few minutes before I have to find a way to cool off. You have the dwarves to thank for your little predicament, you know. Your ancestors saw our kinship and sought to gain it themselves, and so began their tradition of paying us tribute. It didn't work, of course, but we accepted your gifts all the same, as is our right. Your folk were never meant for such a bond. It's always been your fate that you should exist beneath us. Don't frown. Most creatures do. Well, you're too short-lived, for one. Would you ally yourself with a mayfly? And your approach, it was all wrong. The dwarves never sought to gain our approval with gifts. There was always a certain slavish something about you humans, though. You lot were always eager to serve, and so we allowed you. Our mother had a soft heart. She'd grant your village the occasional boon if the situation was dire. I'm afraid I have no such affliction, especially not if their aim is to court my favor with human sacrifices. Ugh. Really, if I had any interest in making you my breakfast, I wouldn't waste time boiling you in a hot spring first. I'd just eat you. In any case, their attempt at tribute is doubly useless, as there's nothing I can do about your little famine anyway. I don't know what I'll do with you. I didn't really think past making you scrub your stink away. I suppose you're hungry. There is wine and some of a giant salmon left in the dining hall. You're welcome to it. I even cooked it. I prefer my fish burnt black. I was tired of it before I was halfway finished eating. No one has actually lived here in decades. The only seasoning that exists in this damned place is rock salt. Yes, well, You try dining on unearthly, exquisite banquet food for 2 centuries and see how you enjoy eating rough. Anyway, can I turn back around now? I'm sick of conversing with the wall. Silly morsel. Is the steam clearing your head at least? The spring doesn't do much for me, unfortunately, but I've heard the minerals in the water are good for humans. Well, I'm glad it's working for someone, at least. Yes. Clothes. Those grimy homespun rags you arrived in, they simply won't do. In fact, this shouldn't harm you any further. You're welcome. Oh, stop fretting. I have garments in my bedchamber that will probably fit you. Of course I wear clothing. What's wrong with you? Well, I don't now, of course. My scales are gorgeous enough on their own, but I've been wandering the Summerlands in mortal form since your grandfather's grandfather was first learning to crawl. Well, how else was I to attend court? I wouldn't be able to fit through the door wearing this shape. Oh, how the Unseelie adored me. We dragons typically are adored, but I was exotic. The only one of my kind in their midst. Imagine a slender, graceful creature with pointed ears and long golden hair like a sheet of pale silk, but with a dazzling pair of wings sprouting from between his shoulders and a long, elegant tail. I kept my eyes and horns too, and an aesthetically pleasing scattering of jewel-bright scales. I had to shrink my wings down to allow for tailoring, but I learned they were especially charming at that size. I'd let certain lucky people stroke them at parties, if they asked sweetly. Anyway, you'll look absurd, a drab little thing like you flouncing around the cave in my finery, but at least you won't be naked, right? Listen, I'm exhausted. I only slept 9 hours last night. Can you take care of yourself? Promise you won't get into trouble if I just... pass out for a little while longer. Good little human. That color doesn't look terrible on you, you know. You paired a spring robe with winter boots, though. And you're not wearing a mask. No, you can't show your naked face at court. Are you mad? Gods, all it takes is an unprotected glance to fall under someone's compulsion. They would have you doing tricks for their amusement inside of 5 minutes. Have you even attended a ball before? Or any cheerful gathering that didn't involve a barn raising or singing praises to some piddling human god? Different masks send different messages. Cover your entire face and people will wonder if you're frightened of someone or hiding something. The more of yourself you reveal, the more daring an impression you'll make. Come here. I'll set you right. Take that robe off and hand me the other jacket there, the plum-colored one. Yes. That is a sleeping shirt, not an undershirt. But it's close enough for our purposes. I don't feel like digging through the trunks to find you something else, and no one would see it under the jacket anyway. Come closer, or we'll never get anything done. Spread your arms. With this jacket, it's important to lace and tie the ribbons correctly, or you'll have everyone laughing at you from behind their goblets. Better. Now what we need is a mask. We'll settle with this mirrored one for now. It goes with everything and I can see my face in it. If you have any doubts as to the impression you give, anything with mirrors works wonders. Let them look at themselves and stop wondering so much about you. Lastly, we add a cloth of gold leaf circlet. Before I left the Summerlands, I was fond of this one. Everyone said it matched my eyes. Now, let's turn you this way and that. That will do. That will do. You wouldn't turn any heads, but that's what we want. A safe, unremarkable costume to ensure your survival. This is what it's like when little children dress up their dolls. Twirl for me, pretty morsel. I miss the court so much. I wonder how they're all faring without me to brighten their evenings. I've been away an entire month. It feels like years, but at the last party I attended, there was a drinking contest, and I ran afoul of a bottle of King Midas's crowning glory. It's a spirit. It looks like any other pale wine, but it's enchanted to turn to liquid gold the moment you swallow it. In small amounts, it sends a giddy feeling of warmth rushing through that makes everything appear just a little bit softer and brighter, all while dyeing your lips a fetching hue. But someone, I don't know who, slipped a dose of dragon's bane into the bottle. I was never in any danger. The use of poisons among the unseelie has grown rather trendy in recent years. So many counterspells and antidotes, most poisons are hardly frightening at all. They're not so much a murder attempt as it is someone saying, "I wish you were dead, and now you will too." Oh, morsel, how I suffered. The healer had me drink this hideous concoction that purged me of everything I'd eaten or drank that evening, and in spite of the procedure, the hangover alone still lasted for a solid week. The dragon's bane left me exhausted and miserable. Even now, my appetite suffers, and I'm exhausted no matter how much I sleep. Worst of all, recovering from it, it drained me of all my magic, leaving me unable to keep my lovely mortal form. It's forced me to entirely abandon my life in the Summerlands. Whether my tormentor intended this or not, it doesn't change the fact that I sit here, humiliated and banished, until my strength returns. I truly thought life couldn't get any worse, and then you woke me up. I accept your apology. Not everyone can control themselves when faced with such alarming resplendence. You know, I'm pleasantly surprised to find that you are an exceptional listener. I've been so bored without someone to talk to. Yes, maybe it's not so bad that you woke me after all. You're more amusing than I would have thought. The hour grows late. I'll need to hunt soon. You look tired. You should find your rest. There are plenty of cozy spots here to choose from. Well, if it means so much to you, I can stay until after sleep claims you. Not that anything would dare harm what belongs to me. Come here if you wish. Stop squirming. I'm practicing the rite known as cuddling. I've learned you mammals enjoy that. Now, settle down and sleep, morsel. You're safe. I'll think more on what to do with you in the morning. Perhaps I'll give you a name. Good night.